Hi, my name is Jason Ephraim, and welcome to the very first instructional video for our Coding Bootcamp DigitalCrafts. We're a Coding Bootcamp. We're located in Houston and in Atlanta, Georgia. We take beginners and in 16 weeks train them up to become full-stack web developers. And we've got a class going on just behind me, so I'm keeping this a little bit low, but I wanted to get into one of the very first questions people get into when they contact us, and that is, how do I go through the admissions process? And it's very simple. The very first thing that you can do is go to our website, DigitalCrafts.com, and I'll bring it up right here. And the first thing you'll see is this home screen, and you can find lots of great information about the Coding Bootcamp. You can also find information specific to the city that you're looking for by going up here to either our Atlanta or Houston campus. Let me bring up Houston real quick. And by clicking on that, you can get a good idea of some of our amazing reviews that we have on Course Report. You can also find us on SwitchUp. We also allow you to download our course packet, which has more detailed information on what you can expect to learn in the course, information on everything from the attendance policy to the course guidelines and projects and how we work together and things like pair programming and everything. So I definitely recommend, if you're at all interested in our course, to give that course packet a download. But to get started, we recommend everybody, if you're at all interested in our course, and especially if you're looking at a couple different coding boot camps, to go ahead and get started in the application process. And the reason being is you can learn a lot from our course packet and by looking over information and our reviews, but until you really start talking with either the campus director of both locations, I myself or Natalie in Atlanta handles most of the incoming student questions and applications, and we can give you a really good idea of what you can expect to learn. We can go over your background and make sure that your goals and what you want to get out of the course is something that makes the program a really good fit for you. But if you go further down, you can also see things like our next upcoming cohort start dates. If they're still open for admissions, they do fill up rather quickly, so if you're at all interested, get started now. And yep, let's get into it. So to get started, you can click on this Launch Application button, or you can also do that from the home page on Launch Application. And by clicking on that, it'll take you to a simple web form. So all you do is click Begin. And just go through and start answering some very simple questions. Basic information about yourself, how we can get in contact with you and your contact preferences. It also gets into very detailed information about what your goals are. Anything about your background, how you got started with development, what programming languages interest you, what you want out of the course, if you're looking for a career change, which is a very common sort of thing with students applying, what you're looking for in that, and also give us a good idea of how you found DigitalCrafts and what you felt set us apart while you're applying. It's important to mention here that we do encourage everybody to go through and apply to a couple different programs. Reason being is the same thing that I brought up before, that you can learn a lot about these programs by reading up on them, but until you actually, in many cases like our DigitalCrafts, sit down with somebody and actually go through the program with someone one-on-one, you don't really get a complete picture. And so go through and complete this application. It takes about 5 minutes, or we really like you to be as detailed as possible, specifically when you're talking about what you want out of the program, because we'd like to enroll people that are a good fit. There's also some stuff in there about culture fit and things, but we go over that in one of the next steps, which I'll get to in a minute. So after you go through and complete this application, we will go through and review it, and then you'll get an email in your inbox. And the email will look a lot like this. Then it will just give you the next steps in the admissions process, as well as a link to the course packet in case you didn't download it and need to refer to it later. So the next step, there's actually two next steps. They can be performed in either order. So there's a scheduling of an informal interview. We like to do that in person if possible, but we understand we're starting to get a lot more international students, people that can't sit down in a room with us yet. So we also accept video chats for that. By clicking on this link, it'll go to a Calendly link, which allows you to see our upcoming availability and schedule a time to either come into Atlanta or Houston, or set up a video chat. It's very simple to use. We're doing these pretty much every day now with new students who are looking at joining our program. And what we do in those interviews is, one, we want to make sure that you're a good fit for the course, given your goals, your experience. that you're joining for the right reasons. We typically look for people that have had some experience with development, that they're coming to us because they know what they're going to get into, that they've experienced HTML, CSS, PHP, JavaScript, Java, I mean, any number of technologies, usually as a part of their job, and it's something that they realize that they enjoy doing a lot more than maybe what their main function of their job is, and they'd like to do the transition over, and that's really the ideal student for us. A common question there is if you need a degree. The answer is no, although a degree will help you, just like in any job, having a college degree will. You will have to work usually a little bit harder than other students to compete for the same positions. But that said, as long as you put in the time and dedication, and probably put in a bit more time than students that have a degree or background experience, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to find a position later on. So if you go through and schedule that, then we get back in touch with you and confirmed your interview. And if for whatever reason you can't make it on the day, it's pretty easy. Just refer back to this email and you can always reschedule to another day. Now, either before that or after that, we also have every student go through and complete a code challenge. And code challenge is simple. If you just go and click on the link there in the email, you'll land on this, it's called Replit. The first time you do this, you'll be asked to create an account. And once you create that, you'll have access to the code challenge itself. And the code challenge is not that difficult. It's 7 basic JavaScript questions. They're open-ended as far as how to solve them, although we do leave some specifics on how we want specific questions to be answered. And by clicking Run on the interface, you should be able to get some sort of result to give you an idea if you're answering the question correctly or not. This is not to gauge a student's proficiency, per se. We understand most people coming to our course are new to JavaScript, at least, or maybe a lot of the development. So what we're looking for is if you're the type of person that can be presented with a problem and you can go out and use tools like Google or specifics like Stack Overflow or W3 Schools to find answers and to kind of tinker around and get the right answer. On the same hand, we also allow up to 3 submissions. So don't feel bad if you can't get every answer completely correct. In fact, most students don't. It usually takes at least 1 try. So if you go through, take a look at it, then you can go and take some time to study and then give a crack at it and try to at least answer every question and then click submit. And we might send it back to you with some feedback, just where to look, if you're on the right track, if maybe you need to sometimes we have students that are proficient in another language, and so they bring in conventions and syntax and things from a language that's not JavaScript, and we just have to kind of correct them on that. But it's really just to get a gauge on if the learning style of a coding bootcamp is right for you, because this is definitely not a lecture sort of environment where you're taught every aspect of something before you actually have to apply that knowledge to solve a problem. It's much more of a kind of broad overview on how a language works, the basics of different ways you can apply it, and then you're pretty much immediately challenged to go through and work and use that to solve a problem, even by yourself or use it or within a team. And some people really enjoy that style of learning, and some people don't. But we found that this code challenge is a great way to help us understand if you enjoy it, and most students get a pretty good idea if they enjoy it once they're challenged. But once you go through and complete that and you do your interview, again, in any order, we'll go through and make it a admissions decision and get you that back. And if you do get back an acceptance, then it's up to you to submit your deposit and secure your seat. And you can do that at any time. Just keep in mind that if you do go through and get an admissions decision for a cohort that doesn't transfer to a later cohort, reason being things change. We might even change the style of learning, or maybe the test gets a little more difficult, or things like that. We just want to make sure that when you're accepted, that you're on the same level of every student that's accepted into that particular cohort. So if you do go through and get accepted, and then you might not make a decision on that particular cohort and wait 6 months or a year till the next one comes around, you will have to go through and reapply again. But it's not a very difficult test. It's just designed to stretch your brain a little bit and get you to have to look for the answer and learn a little bit about JavaScript on your own, and maybe even get a few questions wrong, and just put in some time and dedication. And again, up until we accept you, the decision is completely on you to continue through the admissions process. It can take as long or short as you want. We understand that people are usually going around trying out different coding boot camps and going through the different admissions process, and we try to be very flexible about that. So If you have any questions whatsoever, we can also set up a quick call or video chat. You can email me at jason@digitalcrafts.com, and I'd be happy to go over any questions that you have about coding boot camps, either in Houston or in general. But especially if you're somebody that knows that they enjoy coding, but maybe you only get limited experience to it with your job, or maybe you're out of work right now and you're looking to make a career transition into something you'd really enjoy, we'd love to talk with you. It's not always a perfect fit, but at the very least we can be honest and let you know if what you're looking for is something that a coding bootcamp like Digital Crafts can help you with. And once again, my name is Jason Ephraim. I'm here making a video from Digital Crafts Houston, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, and keep building.